Okay, welcome back to whatever this is. Is it a Let's Play? I suppose it is. Of Sega Superstars Tennis. With me today is my good friend NiGHTS.
Hello, I am that he. I bought this on the Wii the other day. It came in the post like yesterday.
Oh, Sega Superstars Tennis.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned it, I thought I'd pick up a copy to get ready for the video. No, I've forgotten completely about the video, to be honest.
I think most people did.
Yeah, I was giving it a go, and like, I don't know if you want to get straight into the nitty gritty here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I did like this isn't to do with Knights, but I'll get to that. I did like the first stage in Superstars mode, and it's Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool, okay, tennis. And I started playing it, and it was like a singles tournament, quite a short one, quite an easy one. Mm-hmm. And I finished that, and I was like, cool, what's next? And it was like 11 games in a row that just were not tennis. Like, there was no tennis element besides the fact that the guy was holding a racket.
Oh, you mean like, collecting the rings and the Chaos Emeralds?
Yeah. Collect the rings and dodge shots, and I'm just like, this isn't tennis in the slightest. I mean, it's like Mario Power Tennis when you're having to knock out a big mecha Bowser, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you're holding a tennis racket and you knock things back to destroy it, so even that's more like tennis. So it's more like sort of Sega Superstars mini games that take place on a tennis court. I think that's
a better name. That's a better name.
Yeah.
I actually do like the mini games as a concept, but
yeah,
I can see where you're coming from. In a game labeled tennis, there should be more tennis in it.
I think, like, because I've played Mario Power Tennis recently, because I've bought quite a few Wii games recently, and that was one of them. I actually prefer Sega Tennis to Mario Tennis mechanically because, and I mean the Wii one specifically, because the motion controls on the Wii one are kind of like bad. I mean they feel kind of cumbersome, and I mean people complained about this Sega Superstars Tennis because the Wii controls are quite generic. Like, they're not really Wii motion controls; they're just waggle.
All right.
Because you don't swing the remote right to swing the racket right, you just swing it and hold a direction. Like, the waggle just replaces a button press.
Yeah.
And I actually prefer that because it's a lot more precise, you know?
Yeah, a lot of motion control tends to be very inaccurate and sloppy.
Yeah. Another thing that kind of annoyed me about this game, though, is when you're doing the missions, it keeps making you switch from the nunchuck to the sideways Wiimote configuration. Like, you can do, when you do the singles tournament, you can use the motion controls, but then when you have to collect the rings, you have to use the sideways remote, and that's not very good for diagonals. So well, that's what I did for me. It was just like, no, sorry, you've got to unplug the nunchuck for this, and I was like,
wow,
oh, fine game. You know, I was kind of bummed by that, but I think this game supports. Does it support the classic controller? I have a weird idea that does.
I have no idea about the Wii version outside of it having different audio tracks to this version.
Oh, this is the 360 version of it.
Yeah. It's pretty good, yeah. And also the Super HDness as well.
It looks exactly the same as the Wii version.
Well, that's partly due to the preview video being 240p, but also
it's not. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Yeah,
but no,
it's very aesthetically similar. I think all they did was they downgraded the models and textures.
Yeah. It still has that stupid thing where on the loading screens the characters load.
Yeah.
Like, the character models load. It's so weird. I don't know why they have that. I mean, it just seems cheap. It makes it seem cheap.
Yeah.
One thing I do like is how it's actually quite easy to unlock the other characters and courses in this.
Yeah.
It's nowhere near as hard as it is in some games.
I just love the accessibility of it, just how easy it is to get through the story mode, how good the controls are, how well it feels as a tennis game. And just in general, did you see any of my sushi bites on Japanese tennis games?
I don't really watch your stuff. I'm sorry. I don't. Look, I'll level with you. I think I pretty much have nailed the whole game commentary and analysis and sort of humor thing. So
you have. I will admit, you have a good knack to it.
I didn't really see the point because it was kind of like, well, I mean, I could, like, you know, my dear friend Matt, I could watch his video because, you know, it's his thing. Or I could go and like sit on the toilet playing on like the Game Boy, and I just did that instead, you know.
Fair enough.
But no, I've forgotten. I'll level with you. I've forgotten where I was going with that.
Well, basically, the point I was trying to make is that in those games that I covered,
Yeah.
They generally are very particular about serving the ball and hitting the ball. Like, every time I hit the ball, it always goes out. And every time I serve, it's always a fault and a double fault. So what I love about this game is how easy it is to serve, how clear it is, how, you know, you don't hit a ball and it instantly goes out. You've got aftertouch, you've got control on the ball, you can pick where it goes.
Yeah, you can like, it's quite easy to do a lob shot and like topspin and stuff. And I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I assume this is built on the Virtual Tennis engine because it feels like it.
I would assume that as well. I mean, it definitely feels just like it.
I remember saying at the time of when it was announced online, there was on the community I was
just stand still. That animation's so bad. Continue.
There was a fair bit of sort of consternation because it was like, oh, another stupid spin-off tennis game. Who wants this? And I remember thinking, if it's just Virtua Tennis with Sonic in it, then there's no way it's bad. Like, Virtua Tennis is so mechanically sound that you can't really fail to build a game around it, unless they do something stupid like have you collect rings while you're being shot at. But there's no way they'll do that. You know.
No, absolutely no way.
One other, I mean, I like this game, and I feel bad sitting here griping about it. But if there's one other thing that I gripe about in this game, it's the fact that there aren't courses for, like, you unlock the Golden Axe world quite early on.
Yeah.
And all it is just to fight a tennis match against Gilius to unlock him. But there's no other Golden Axe-ness. There's no Golden Axe music. We
were commenting on this on the Golden Axe episode, that basically it's just a match at the Curian Mansion with Gilius thrown ahead as the opponent, and that's it. There's absolutely nothing else Golden Axe there.
And like the next Sega Superstars game, which was All Stars Racing, nailed that, and then transformed even more. Transform was even better for it. So
transformed just in having a Panzer Dragoon track and a Skies of Arcadia track just sort of blew me away.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they included them.
But even the first one, for having Opa Opa and the Bonanza Brothers as racers. I mean, for me, especially having Opa Opa was pretty special. But
because Fantasy Zone Master System.
I love, Master System's kind of my thing, so yeah, I dig it. Fantasy Zone is great, and I wish they'd bring it back. But, and they kind of are, because it's one of the 3D classics for the next batch on the 3DS.
Cool.
Yeah, I know, it's going to look awesome. But to talk about Knights, now that we're,
let's talk about Knights.
7 minutes, we're now 8 minutes into this 15-minute video.
Let's talk about Knights.
Knights, more like shites.
Yeah.
That was a gap for applause.
Well, you see, the thing is, I more or less agree with you. Yes. Like, if we want to take that on face value, Knights equals bad, I more or less agree with you. It's a very unusual opinion, because I find that a lot of the time when I talk to people about Knights, it's, oh, isn't Knights great? Isn't it fantastic? I find that as a game, I don't know what the hell I'm doing when I'm playing Knights.
My Knights story is, when I was a kid, I got Sega Power magazine. Sega Power was a terrible old Sega magazine from the UK, made by Future Publishing. And when I say terrible, I mean obviously it was excellent. It was terrible for journalism, but it was excellent for laughs. It was very funny, you know.
All right, yeah.
Because a lot of old British game mags have that. They have personality in spades. The reviews are not fair or really accurate, to be honest, but they can be quite funny.
It sounds like I'd enjoy this magazine.
Yeah, it's good. But anyway, they hyped up Knights so much because they were about to become Saturn Power, basically.
Right, yeah.
And they did a huge comparison feature, which was like Knights versus Mario 64. Like, and they got both games.
Okay.
And they posited Knights as a contender with Mario 64.
Right.
And it gave all these reasons, like, here's what in Mario 64 you can do this, in Knights you can do this, winner Knights, like tons of times, you know.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons was like, you can fly in Mario, you can also fly in Knights. Knights is just as good, blah 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 blah. And of course I was sitting there like, oh wow, Knights must be great.
Yeah.
Cut to like 15 years later or whatever, 10 years later, and I was working in a retro shop, and we got a copy in with this, not a Saturn. I was like, cool, I'm finally gonna get to play this hidden like gem, you know?
Yeah.
And I put it on, and I was playing it, and it was this strictly 2D game with constantly switching camera angles that completely throw you out of where you are and what's going on. You don't know what path you're following. You have to just know where the camera's going to turn, stuff like that. And I'm thinking, like, man, this is terrible. I don't like this game. I think this is bad. But I don't want to say it's bad because maybe I just don't get it. Because a lot of people love this game. And then when it came out on Steam, I bought it like day one. I was like, I'm finally going to have a proper go at this game, like an updated, higher res version of Night. Brilliant. I'm going to finally learn how to play this game. And I couldn't be asked to learn how to play it because it was so crap. That's my story. You thought it was going to go somewhere like critically challenging and profound.
Yeah.
But no, I just got bored with its crapness. I don't get it. I think the reason it's so beloved is because it's Sonic fans, and you know what they're like. So you know,
you've got to be careful. Quite a few of the people who watch my channel are Sonic fans.
It's a triple. I am one.
Yeah.
You know, I am a Sonic fan.
You've got to love something to be able to pull it apart. After all, really.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what I've done to all of my previous girlfriends. I've pulled them apart, but you can't. I think it's the doubleheader of Sonic fans. Where I know people who will say Sonic 06 is like a good game, like it's underrated, and those people are maniacs. It's
okay,
horrible.
okay, I'm a maniac. But go on.
No, you're a maniac. It's terrible, but it's this whole it's a Sonic Team property, so we have to give it like props for that. It's imaginative. Yeah, I guess it's imaginative. You know, that's fair to say. But then there's also the thing of it being on the Saturn, and everyone who bought a Saturn back in the day, and this is all very speculative, I'm not saying literally everyone. It's one of those things where when you buy a console, you have to contrive reasons for it of being a good purchase, otherwise you can't really live with yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's kind of like, it's like how I was like, yeah, I mean, you know, the NES is good and all, but it doesn't have the Lucky Dime Gaper starring Donald Duck, you know? And then I would like look at Mario 3 and I would smile and a small tear would like trickle down my cheek. But Nights is just this sort of obfuscating, confusing game that doesn't really convey anything to the player, which I hate. And it's got good music, and the basic principle of flying through rings is kind of cool, but not in 2D. You know, in in Star Fox 64, yes. In Nights, it's like, no, you're just kind of moving up and down. Going obscure now, the best Nights thing is, now, I can't remember which GBA game it was, but there was a GBA game, I think it might have been Billy Hatcher, where you could attach the GameCube version to the GBA version, and you could unlock mini-games, and one of them was
Billy
Nights,
Hatcher.
and it was really good, because it was fully 2D.
Yeah, it played
and
pretty well.
it didn't have the confusing camera shit, and it was good.
Well,
that was the best Nights game.
While there's still time, I'll get my story of Nights in. It's basically along... It's along the same lines. I saw it in a magazine as a kid, and basically, just like that screenshot, the title screen and Knight's face, and it, like all the buildings in Twin Seeds, like all lit up. I thought, wow, this looks really cool. Years and years later, I'm at college, around about 2007, I buy a Sega Saturn for super cheap with Resident Evil, and then I started polling around my friends as to who had Sega Saturn games I could buy off them. And one of my friends had Knights and Burning Rangers. And I'm like, oh my god, I'll have Knights and I'll have Burning Rangers. Both of these amazing Sonic Team games.
You fleeced him out of Burning Rangers, man.
Yeah, both of them were 20 each, so that was pretty good back in 2007. But anyway, I played both games, and I'm sat there thinking, the Sega Saturn sucked.
Yep.
Now, it's a cruel thing to say, but when I was a kid, I saw pictures of Sonic R, I saw pictures of Knights, I saw pictures of Burning Rangers and everything else on Saturn, even Bug, and I was thinking, wow, this looks so cool, I wish I had a Sega Saturn. And I finally get one, and every single experience I've had on the system, besides Baku Baku, has been an absolute disappointment.
I will say, as with all systems, even the flawed ones, there is stuff on the Saturn I like. I really like Power Slave on it.
Yes.
It's the best version.
Yeah.
It had really great Exhumed, as it's called over here.
Yeah.
It had really great ports of Quake and Duke Nukem 3D.
Yeah, the Duke Nukem 3D port had like a hidden game where you...
Aren't you worried?
Death Tank Spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Death Tank Spy. Quake has it as well, because they're made by the same conversion developer.
Mm.
If you have like a save from Quake, you can play it in Duke, and if you have a save from Duke, you can play it in Quake, which is really weird.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. That might be slightly inaccurate, but I'm reasonably sure that's what it is. And you've got on the Saturn as well, like you've got Sonic Jam, which is a bit of a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, actually, I do pretty much love Sonic Jam. In terms of how well the games are ported, because they are actually ported, not crappy little emulations, they play so well, and even though all the music and sound effects in that version are pre-rendered, it's still really impressive, the way that it's all put together, and all versions of Sonic and Knuckles are there, Sonic 1, 2, 3 with Knuckles. And then the Sonic world itself, although there isn't much to it, it's the only 3D Sonic really on the Saturn that it's got.
It's cute, yeah.
Yeah.
It has that really bizarre cartoon you can watch as well.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I remember a very vivid memory of that.
Yeah, Man of the Year.
But you know what it didn't have? It didn't have Sonic Spinball, so, you know, put in the bin.
Well, I would argue, well, it didn't have my favourite Mega Drive era Sonic game, but then again it actually
3D, is that
did.
3D?
Yeah, it did have my favourite game of that era, Sonic 3D. And it is the best version of the game, hands down. It's basically the PC version, but
yeah,
it looks better.
Confused. I was really confused there for a second because I thought you were saying Sonic 3D was on Jam, and I was about to be like, "No, it isn't, you contemptible idiot!" But then I remembered, no, it was Sonic 3D Blast, and it was on the Saturn, and it was the best version because it had the soundtrack from the PC version, and it had the better special stages.
And it had these special effects in the main stages, like the weather. Yeah, it didn't have a save feature, but it did have the weather effects, which were exclusive to that version, which do look pretty cool when it's raining and misty in Rusty Ruins.
Yeah.
It looks quite cool.
And I should get the ROM of that.
Although
I mean, buy it legally, la 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 la.
although the soundtrack is different to the Mega Drive version, and naturally I'll prefer that because I'm a huge sucker for Jun Senoway and everything he's done.
Yeah.
But even so, the Saturn version has a really decent soundtrack.
I always find it. Richard Jacques did the soundtrack for the Saturn version, didn't
Jake's did it.
Oh, is it Jake's?
I'm pretty sure it's Jake's. I've heard him referred to as Jake's.
I always thought it was Jacques.
I thought it was Jacques, but then
Well, it is now.
So, the name is Jakes. Richard Jakes, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Who cares what he says it is?
Should we call him Jacques?
Yeah, his name is Jacques.
Yeah.
His name is Dick Jacques.
Dick Jacques.
He is, and he did the soundtrack for Sonic R as well, and you know what? I loved Sonic R when I was a kid. I mean, the game is 5 minutes long, but I still love it.
My first experience of Sonic R was on PC. I got it around about, I'd say around about 2000. I got the PC re-released version on Sold It label, or Explosive.
I got
label,
it from Explosive,
yeah.
Explosive.
I remember seeing it in, I think it would have been Game. They probably would have been Electronics Boutique then. And I just saw it on the shelf. And I was just like, oh my god, Sonic! I must have been so loud in the shop. Like, embarrassing little kid.
Yeah, you were like, oh, Sonic, yeah!
Yeah.
Mom, buy me this! That reminds me of when I was in there and I was like, oh, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, yeah, Mom, buy me this! And she was like, okay. And I was like, wait, what? Didn't the original... Now, unless I'm very much mistaken, one of the releases of Sonic R by Explosive didn't have the music.
I would imagine...
Because I have one that doesn't.
I would imagine that's
probably true. I have one that doesn't,
true.
and I have one that does. And that's a very obtuse piece of information.
I vaguely remember my version not having music.
Because I didn't hear the music until I got the Sonic Gems collection.
Yeah.
I hadn't truly lived before then, because I didn't get to hear the beautiful lyrics.
Can
Come
you
on,
sunshine,
run away, you don't have to stay.
Yeah.
It's just, it's such poetry. So poetry.
Brilliant.
Yeah. When it's like, as long as you promise me we'll go back in time.
Yes, that's exactly how it goes.
My favourite is in Radiant Garden when it plays Straight Outta Compton by the NWA.
Yeah, that was completely
I
left
was
field
really
choice,
surprised.
yeah.
I wasn't expecting to hear the N-word so many times.
Yeah.
Even once. I wasn't expecting to hear it even once, to be honest.
Not even once
and
in the
there
Sonic game.
there it was, and it said.
Yeah.
in excess. Just really shocking stuff, I thought, and really edgy and near the knuckle.
Yeah.
Near the knuckles.
It's a white knuckle ride.
Yeah, because there's a character in it called Knuckle. That's why.
And he has white knuckles.
Knuckles the Echidna.
I always used to
Clearly
call
we've run
it.
out of things to talk.
I always used to call it Echnida when I was a kid.
Echnida's better. I'm calling it that from now on.
Yeah, I prefer Echnida, but it's like, oh, I've got to call it Echidna now.
Subscribe, folks. NiGHTS on YouTube. You too can watch videos like me playing a video game and saying it sucks, and me playing a video game and saying it's good. And you can't get that anywhere else on the internet. So give it a watch. Don't watch this. Don't watch Escape Route or Sushi Bites. Watch my stuff.
You know what? Yeah, actually, if you're gonna watch a video of mine next, don't. Go watch Stu's video about Shatterhand. Seriously.
Shatterhand.
It's like the epitome of video game journalism, without the shitty food puns.
But yeah, I think what I really mean is you should definitely watch all of Escape Route and Sushi Bites and that Naganuma video thing.
Well, yeah,
you did.
You should also watch all of Mad Hair 60 though as well.
Yeah, except for like the early ones because those are really crap. So don't watch them. Oh well. Clearly we're running out of things to talk about.
Yeah. So it's time to wrap this up. This has been Sega Superstars Tennis Episode 3 on NiGHTS. With me was my friend Stu.
Hello.
Yeah,
I just want to say, you know what? I think that this was hardly your fault, but in fact, more of an ace.
Wow. I'm going to let that one slip.
I think because it's coming up to around 10-ish, we should stop doing this now.
10-ish?
Because we're making quite a racket of little net worth, and I need to drink some deuce.
Wow.